Democrats have triggered the Epstein Files thinking that they were about to destroy Trump, and now every single receipt is blowing back at them. Clip after clip, it gets worse, y'all. Let's start here.
You talked about Republicans taking money from a Jeffrey Epstein. Here's what you said.
Who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio.
You mentioned Lee Zeldin there. He's now a cabinet secretary. He responded and said it was actually Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's a doctor that doesn't have any relation to the convicted sex trafficker. Unfortunate for that doctor, but that is who donated to a prior campaign of his. Do you want to correct the record on the people that...
Listen, I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein, just so that people understand when you make a donation, your picture is not there. And because they decided to spring this on us in real time, I wanted the Republicans to think about what could potentially happen, because I knew that they didn't even try to go through the FEC. So my team, what they did is they Googled, and that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Republicans, I at least don't go out and just tell lies. Because it was not the same one, that's fine. But when Lee Zeldin had something to say, all he had to say was it was a different Jeffrey Epstein. He admitted that he did receive donations from a Jeffrey Epstein, so at least I wasn't trying to mislead people. Now, have I dug in to find out who this doctor is? I have not. So I will trust and take what he says, is that it wasn't that Jeffrey Epstein, but I was not attempting to mislead anybody. I literally had maybe 20 minutes before I had to do that debate.
Yeah, but people might see that and say, well, you're trying to make it sound like he took money from
I did not know.
A registered sex offender.
No, but I literally did not know. When you search FEC files, and that's what I had my team to do, I texted them and I said, listen, we're going up. They are saying that she took donations.
Right, but someone might say, well, your team should have done the homework to make sure it wasn't the convicted sex trafficker.
Within 20 minutes, you could not find that out, not from just doing a quick search on FEC. So, number one, I made sure that I was clear that it was a Jeffrey Epstein, but I never said that it was specifically that Jeffrey Epstein.
Wow.
Because I knew that we would need more time to really dig in.
Wow. The fact that she did not only double down, but I mean the circus act that she's putting on right here, man. Even Sheldon Daniels, who's running for Congress, wrote, "We all know Rep. Jasmine is all performance. She was intentionally sent here by globalists to confuse, distract, and mislead people." Let me know in the comment section right now. Do you agree with that? Hopefully, the statement below that ages well. I'm sending her packing in 2026. See, Jasmine Crockett says she didn't look into what this Jeffrey Epstein was, but uses his name anyway, while the entire hearing is about another Epstein. That Epstein. That's not oversight. That's reckless political theater, and it only gets more embarrassing from here. Because while she's trying to finesse semantics, the real receipts start showing up in this next clip.
I don't think this is the end of John. I am not.
Nobody thinks it's the end of Donald Trump. It could be the end for the Democrats. You're watching it happen in real time. I love how you say, you look at it, Akeem Jeffrey. Oh, it's just a fundraising email. As if it were a Republican, your party, the media would not interpret it in the worst light. For example, it's amazing how the brilliant Jasmine Crockett thinks there's only one Jeffrey Epstein, and that one Jeffrey Epstein somehow gave money to Lee Zeldin. No, I know this is hard to believe. There is more than one Jeffrey Epstein, just as if there are more than one Jesse Waters, but only one Greg Gutfeld. He was a doctor who gave money, but she knew that, unless you think she is retarded, and I don't think she is. I just think she's deliberately pretended that she didn't know there might be another one. So when I talk about this is what I say is the big worry about this thing, and I'm for the release of them. You look at how these idiots are going to try to interpret everything in the worst possible way. So if you're caught in that net and your name is Jeffrey Epstein or your name is Jesse Waters, something that could be easily checked out. I'm not saying you're in the files. I'm just saying there's a high likelihood you will be. They will be extremely malicious in their interpretation. So we have to be on our toes. I do think that, what's his name, Galloway? He's right. Be careful what you wish for, because when something seems too easy, it's a trap. And I think you just handed Trump a paintball gun, and you put targets on the Democrats because Epstein, I think 80 to 90% of his donations were all to Democrats. Epstein despised Trump. He was the only elite that wouldn't play ball with him. So, and then you look at like Larry Summers, you look at the, what is a billionaire? I can't remember. Reid Hoffman, you look at Bill Clinton, you look at Akeem, you look at the Virgin Island lady. It's only begun and it looks bad for you guys. I think that this is going to be a fun winter for Trump, because once he goes in on this thing, he doesn't come out. He figured it out. He knows exactly how, when you guys bring it up, it's always going to go back to the Democrats every single time. And pretty soon you're just going to say, why did we do this? This is just like Russian collusion, but it's worse because now it ends with a huge, huge pile of mud all over us. The Russian collusion thing just went away. You guys were lucky you didn't go to jail.
I think mud is a generous way of putting it.
Should I have said feces?
Well, I wouldn't say that in our word. So here we go.
Are you
Larry
in the
Summers.
files?
Yeah, my name was invoked. I'm not.
Gutfield dropped that nuke, man. Epstein wasn't funding Republicans. Come to find out, he was doing something that we already knew. He was funding the Democrats. Does that come as a shocker to you? Definitely not me. But Clinton flights, Schumer emails, I said Schumer, but Schumer cash, rather. Summers emails, and the DNC keeping money after the scandal. It all runs in one direction. None of it points towards Trump. And when conservative media says it, of course, you know, it's people are going to shrug. But when Stephen A. Smith, he jumped in on this topic again. That's when you know the tide is turning, man. This guy, he's not fooling us. He low-key MAGA.
He did something that I didn't see coming. He said, to hell with it, open the files. I'll sign to open the files. No problem. And the first words that came to my mind was, uh-oh. Because Donald Trump is not going to do that if it's going to be something that significantly hurts Donald Trump. He's going to do it if, dare I say, he's got something on other people. Because that is who we know him to be, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it is. There's no way around this. And sure enough, one of the first names that came out was Larry Summers, who worked as the Treasury Secretary under the Clinton administration, who worked on economic policies for Barack Obama, who was religiously associated with the left, who was still teaching at Harvard, and then ultimately had to step back and step away from public settings and things of that nature, scale back his role within the last 24 hours because he was one of the names that appeared in the Epstein Files. He was somebody that knew Epstein. He was somebody that kept in constant contact with Epstein. He was somebody that Epstein had influenced and coaxed Epstein into donating millions upon millions of dollars to Harvard University. I mean, in excess of $9 million. Okay? This is the kind of stuff that was happening. And you found yourself saying, oh, damn. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, that's exactly what you should be thinking. It should be, oh, damn. Because that's just the first shoe to drop. Why is Larry Summers bothered? Why does he have to step away? Why has his reputation been impugned to some degree? It's very, very simple when you think about it. The reason that it happened was because there were emails. And those emails revealed that this man that had been married for decades was asking Jeffrey Epstein for dating advice. And we don't know all the details about it, but this man that had been married for decades needs dating advice. Obviously, it wasn't to date his wife. And not only was he communicating with Jeffrey Epstein prior to Jeffrey Epstein being arrested and indicted back in 2007, 2008, whenever it was, this was a year before Epstein had committed suicide, reportedly, in like 2018. And he's in there asking for advice on how to pick up this woman. After the man had been associated with sexual assault and sexual offenses of minors, you were still communicating with him. Is that somebody that you asked for dating advice from? He did. He did. And then as you look and you scour the internet and you see old footages, we've seen old footages of Michelle Obama. We've seen old footages of Barack Obama. We've seen old footages of Bill Clinton. Ladies and gentlemen, do you really, really think that Donald Trump is going to sign off on releasing the Epstein Files and not have a boatload of stuff that he's going to throw in the Democrats' direction? At some point in time, we got to fall back to what one of my boys, Jeff Brown in LA, said. He said, Trump has become a verb. The name Trump has become a verb. He's trumping the Democrats at every turn, playing them like a fiddle. Now, I don't know whether this is true or not, but I know there are people that believe that. And the reason why you got to have attach substance to it because what else would make sense? You got a 2026 midterm election coming up. You think Donald Trump's going to do something to harm himself and damage or compromise his legacy with what he's trying to get done, whatever that may be? You think he's going to do that? He's not going to do that. If he does it, it's going to be, hey, it's because of them.
Stephen A., man, loudly claims he's not MAGA and not a Republican. Not carrying water for anybody, though, I'll tell you that. But he sees what's happening. Trump only signed something when he already knows what's inside. Democrats, they didn't corner him by any stretch of the measure. They forced the release of the files that hit their own people harder. And that's where the bait and switch theory starts to make people realize, hey, it kind of makes a little too much sense.
So Elon Musk and Donald Trump possibly just performed the greatest bait and switch in human history. I don't know if you guys remember a few months ago, Elon Musk dropped a post that made the Democrats just shriek with joy, saying that Donald Trump is on the Jeffrey Epstein list. What followed was a series of Democrats demanding that the Epstein list gets pushed, from Jimmy Kimmel, Hakeem Jeffries, of course, along to any Democrat, even Hillary Clinton. Everyone was claiming that this Epstein list needed to come out because it appeared that it was against Donald Trump. From that point on, Donald Trump and Elon Musk are supposed to still be mortal enemies, further pushing Democrats to try to get this list out. What Donald Trump does, he goes to say, oh, it's a hoax, it's a hoax, it's a hoax, it's BS. Gaslighting the public, because there's no way you could have made Democrats want this list unless Donald Trump didn't want the list. He knew that and played on their own bias. You see, TDS has gotten so bad that Trump has learned how to weaponize it against them that have it themselves. Like, it's crazy. Trump somehow found a way to turn people TDS against them, and he knew that if he did not like the Epstein list, people would love it. So now what happens? The Epstein list comes out. Donald Trump and Elon Musk links up at the White House with Ronaldo. I don't believe that's random. I don't think many Americans believe that's random. It's a great chance they just performed the greatest bait and switch in history, and the Epstein list that's coming out is going to implicate every Democrat demanding for it to come out, and we're about to witness transparency like we've never seen before, and the true fall of the Democrat Party. And what's so amazing, they found a way to make sure every single Democrat, that means not the big Democrats, we're talking about the regular voters, are going to be waiting for the list. Because what does it matter when the list comes out if no one's reading it? How could you get the people that would claim it had been propaganda to read the list? By thinking it only implicates Donald J. Trump. I think they're set. I think it's about to come out. And I think Donald Trump is possibly the greatest 4D chessman of all time.
Dom breaks it down now. Musk pressures Trump publicly. He pressures Trump, publicity. Democrats think that they smell blood. Why did I say publicity? I'm over here just fumbling words, adding stuff that ain't there. Look, my boy Musk out here, went after Trump publicly I'm over here trying to be all too much. The Democrats, they took the bait. They pushed transparency unanimously, and then Trump signs the one bill that guarantees every file drops. They handed him the sword. And now the blade is pointed right at them. But none of this compares to the document that shuts the whole argument down. The one piece of evidence Democrats didn't expect to come out.
So let's read it to make sure. To Jeffrey Epstein, and that's the real Jeffrey Epstein, not Jasmine Crockett's Jeffrey Epstein. This is the real Jeffrey Epstein. From Hakeem Jeffrey's campaign. Dear Jeffrey, we are thrilled that we are working with Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, one of the rising stars of the New York delegation, sometimes referred to as Brooklyn's Barack. Hakeem is committed to electing a Democrat majority in 2014 and is encouraging his friends to participate in a DCCC fundraising dinner with President Obama and Hakeem Jeffries. It ends with a number for Jeffrey Epstein to call to go to the dinner and, quote, get an opportunity to get to know Hakeem better. Here's the evidence. The email speaks for itself. The only stone-cold liar in this debate is Hakeem Jeffries. So, Mr. Minority Leader, take a deep breath, chill out, stop lying, stop with the juvenile name-calling, and own up to the fact that your campaign solicited campaign cash from Jeffrey Epstein.
Wow. Man. Now, that was the real Jeffrey Epstein. And that is a real email. And that is Hakeem Jeffries' fundraising team asking him for money 5 years after Epstein's conviction. Then he calls Comer a stone-cold liar. But look, man, the files don't lie. The outrage, it sure does. You demanded transparency, you demanded the files, you demanded every receipt, and now every single one is blowing back on you, Democrats. So, if you made it to the end of the video, I think the word is pretty obvious that we're going to use here, and we're going to use backfired. Or aha, either one, laughing at them. Laugh at their pain right now. Y'all be safe. Go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.